Action!
All right, hey everybody, welcome back to our third episode of All Talk. I'm happy you guys are back and we're doing this again. Very funny comedian tonight. I've worked with her a couple of times like in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, which was like the best shows where you're just like, you never know what you're gonna get. You're working in the middle of somewhere, nowhere. But she's really funny. She works all over the place. Comedy Bar, Laugh Factory, Zanies. She's all over the place. Please say hi to Jeanie Doogan. Hi, Jeanie.
Hey, hi guys. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. I'm glad that it worked out that you could be here. So just a little bit of back on you. I did notice when I was looking up for you that you come from a rather large family. You're one of 8?
The youngest of 8.
The youngest of 8.
The youngest of 8, which is a big difference in being the oldest of 8. The youngest of 8, I say, and that's just the ones that didn't wander off, right? Like, yeah, big family, 8. I did a show not too long ago with some comedians, and there were 3 comedians there, and all of us had 8 kids in our family. So if that's,
wow.
Yeah, wasn't that, yeah, Tommy,
Crazy.
Kid, and Alex Banaz, you just had him on, and I'm going to,
Anthony Bonanzo.
Anthony Bonanzo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, youngest of 8.
Wow. Now, so he was second. He was the 7th of 8.
Right.
So, and he was out in, he grew up in New Jersey. So you grew up here in Illinois, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, south side of Chicago.
South side of Chicago?
Yep.
Nice. Are you still south side, or
I am. I'm not in the same area I grew up in. I'm actually a little further south. I'm in the Beverly area, and I could show you on my map right here. Yeah, but I kind of always envision until I leave Chicago, I'll probably stay on the south side.
Yeah. Now I'm not originally from Chicago. I'm originally from Oklahoma, and I've lived all over the place. I grew up in Oklahoma, but I've lived in Texas, Michigan, Colorado, New Jersey, and Illinois.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've been all over the place.
And if I could add, all the most boring states.
Exactly. Yeah, all boring. All boring.
You couldn't get Hawaii in there?
I know, right? Colorado was pretty exciting. I did enjoy Colorado quite a bit, but they were all pretty. Yeah, they were all pretty boring. There's not a whole lot to do in Oklahoma.
Colorado is cool. I missed that one.
Yeah, my favorite thing about Oklahoma is people are always like, all my friends and family back in Oklahoma are like, hey, when are you coming back to visit? I'm like, dude, I live in Chicago. Like, when are you coming here?
Right.
Like, come on up here. It's not bad. It's not as liberal as you think. Like, it's okay.
That's what they're.
So not being from here, knowing that you grew up or you're over by Beverly, people always told me that Beverly is on the south side where the cops and the judges live on the south side. So is your family part of that? Yeah, is your mom or dad or anybody?
No, they weren't. My current husband is a police officer, Chicago police officer. But otherwise, I have no other family members that were politicians or police or fire. My dad was a grave digger for the Catholic cemeteries.
Really?
Yeah, that's how he supported 8 kids. He worked with the Catholic cemeteries, dug graves. My mom was a secretary. So yeah.
Nice. I love the optimism, as you say, my current husband. I'm just saying,
honey, he's right in the next room. Wow, I didn't even catch that. That's what happens when you're remarried. That is so funny.
Good. I'm sure I wonder how many times you said that, and some people have just been like.
I probably said it with him standing right next to me. This is my current husband.
Yeah.
And he's probably like, I don't care. I don't,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Who knows I'm nuts.
my uncle, he always introduces my aunt, who they've been married literally for like 30 years or something like that, as his first wife. Yeah, it was my first wife.
Bum.
That's an old man dad joke.
Right. Better than my future ex-wife. Don't you hate those guys that say that?
I know. Yeah, that's so dumb. So one of the things I didn't mention in your intro, you're actually on Singles Only with Paul Farmer a lot.
Quite a bit,
almost like a second co-host.
Right.
Like
Yeah, he loops me in. He hooks me into doing it with him.
Yeah, I love you two have a really good repertoire. You know, it's great because it's like at any moment I'm expecting like either one of you to just go like fuck off. You know, like it's like
you haven't listened enough because that's pretty much all we do. My sole joy in life is to just nag him about things. He's like my brother. He's like my twin brother. I won't say younger brother because he lies about his age. We're the same age.
I've listened to several of the podcasts, but I've never really heard you guys get into this. I know Paul is a diehard Cubs fan. Mm-hmm. Are you a diehard Sox fan, or are you not a fan really either way?
I am a diehard Sox fan in the way that I will never like the Cubs because it is in my blood. So where I grew up was so close to Comiskey Park. Again, it's Comiskey always. We could see the fireworks from our porch when they would hit a home run. And so I grew up with, Baines and Fisk, and like it was always on in the summer. And sometimes we were lucky, we would walk to the park and then we would carry my dad home, stumbling home. You know, we have a great time. My greatest memory is walking into Comiskey, and you would enter that level, and the green field would just open up in front of you. And so I wasn't a huge baseball fan. It kind of was always a slow sport for me. I've always loved basketball, but the Sox, because of the connection with my dad and just the memories of growing up on the South Side, have always been like real dear to me. But I was happy when you guys won a few years ago. So
yeah, see, and I'm the same way. Like so I grew up in Oklahoma, but I was lucky enough to be able to watch the Cubs growing up. Like we had WGN, or friends of mine had WGN, so I would watch the Cubs when I could. So I've always been a diehard Cubs fan. But I was happy for the Sox in 2005 when they won it. I mean, it was good for I will say this. I wasn't cheering for them, but I was happy when they won. I was like, hey, good for them. You know, like I wasn't a hater by any means. So I'm glad you brought up basketball, because I did notice too that you've been watching a lot of The Last Dance.
Yeah.
What kind of memories does that bring back, especially growing up here? Like, cause you would have been growing up in that time frame when that was.
Very much so. I was a freshman at Purdue when they won in '93. And I remember being home for the summer, kind of new, and like all my friends from Indiana calling me, being like, "This is nuts! This, and I had told this story. Could I tell my favorite memory? It's not even so much related.
Sure.
So my sister had season tickets because her husband owned a business and they had great seats. So we would get lucky enough to get some really good seats during like their like just prime years, or coming up years more so then. But I got to see them face the Celtics. So it was probably before they really took off, because Parrish, McHale, Bird, like McHale was still playing. When I can't remember when they retired his jersey. Anyway, we're at this game and I get to see Jordan face Larry Bird, who was just my idol growing up. We just loved the Celtics, being from this like Irish family. They had a damn shamrock as their logo, So we're watching. We have great seats. We don't have money to buy stuff like this. This came from like a marriage, and I'm like standing up. I'm pretty young. I'm in early high school. I don't know, and I'm like cheering, and this yuppie walks up the steps, remember the yuppies, like the young professionals, always well dressed, and he spills a tub of beer on my seat, and he goes, "Oh, sorry," like that, and keeps walking. And my brother Jack, who's a lot older, he's one of the older ones, goes, "Hey, wipe it up, wipe it up." And the guy goes, "With what?" And my brother goes, "Your fucking scarf." And the guy did. He did. He like put down the beer and he like took off his like wool Burberry scarf and like wiped it up. And I just remember being like, man, that's how you get shit done.
That's how you get it done, man. Wow.
And
your brother Jack the Enforcer.
Yeah. And that's still my personality. You just tell it like it is,
Exactly.
Manners count when they do, so.
Yeah. Have you ever had to pull any of that out as a teacher? Because you're a school teacher. So you were a school teacher and you just recently went back to it. So do you ever have to pull any of that out with your kids? Like, what are you teaching, younger kids, older kids? Or?
So high school, and yeah, I think.
So you probably have to pull that out.
I do, and I don't know if it's always appreciated. I don't know. Sometimes they especially don't get my dry humor, but I'm very kind of to the point, and it doesn't always go over well. But I'll tell you what, I love what I'm doing, and I really hold high standards for students. So it's okay. But yeah, I pull this out all the time. This is just. Some people are like, "I thought you were so nice and bubbly." And I'm like, you have not talked to me for more than 5 minutes then, because
well, I remember
we were on a fucking scarf. Excuse my language.
I remember we were on a show together, and you, for some reason, you were hosting, and the crowd wouldn't shut up. And I was like, that was like the first time that I'd really seen it come out of you, because like you were very polite, following the rules of like, hey, let's try, and then like a millisecond past the like I did everything politely, you were like on them. I was like, okay, yeah, all right, she's gonna get them shut up.
Yeah, I do. I get a very fight or flight mentality, and usually it's just walking that line of still is getting their attention, shutting them up, but also now wanting them to like run away in terror. So yeah.
So I forgot that we kind of went from the baseball. I got sidetracked with the baseball with you and Paul, and I forgot to ask. So with all of the stuff that you do with him on Singles Only, which is a great podcast, you guys should really check it out. Have you had a favorite guest, or like, is there one moment? Because you guys he's done like 200 of these now, right?
Yeah,
like that?
Yeah, 200. And I think I asked him how many I had done with him, and I forget what the number was, but it was more than I thought. Excuse me. I thought it was like, what did I do? Like 20 of these? And he's like, no, you've done, I don't know if it was like 40 or 90. I have the worst memory. You would think I should probably get it checked. I don't know.
You're not teaching math, are you?
Good Lord. No. English, where you could just bullshit your way through everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The answer is somewhere between 40 and 90. I'll accept any of those numbers.
Yeah. It's either this symbolic of this or symbolic of that. Just explain why you think it is and you're fine. So much bullshit involved. You know what? Yeah, we've done a lot. And I actually, as much as the hard times I give him, I really do like to, he's introduced me to some incredible people. He introduced me to like one of the top divorce lawyers in Chicago. When I was going through a tough time, after meeting her, she like stepped in and like just took care of stuff for me, just like to help me out. And she's somebody I would never been able to afford her like rate. So that was incredible. I met an author, Valerie Genghis, who we just had on again, and she is just like the most coolest person ever. She talks about like enlightenment and transcendental meditation. So she's like got me really interested in that. Yeah, so like I've just met people that I probably wouldn't have met on my own doing it. And
Right.
it's not even so much of their stories of being single, but just like just cool people that have ended up introducing me to a new topic or something that I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I have one last question for you before we move
Okay.
to the final segment.
Uh-oh.
So you were interviewed by Comedy of Chicago, which is a great website, another website everybody should check out.
Sure.
In 2012. Do you remember this interview at all?
I think I do.
So,
Again, I feel like I might have, yeah.
so
Can you
here's
tell me
one
the
of the
topic?
things.
Okay.
Here's one of the things that you said, and I want to know if it's still true because a lot has happened and you've come a long way in the last
Oh
8 years.
no.
You said that you could quit comedy at any time and you'd be okay with it. Is that true 8 years later?
Oh, Mike, you're like doing your research. Man, you're asking some good questions. No, it's not because I have become so driven by it, and I can't explain it because I don't really have any ambitions in comedy except to write and get on stage. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people want to roll this into something. They want to gain followers. I mean, sure, I want followers. Follow me. But
Yeah.
I don't have any other ambitions other than writing and getting on stage. I don't even like people. I don't even like to meet people after shows because I get real nervous and anxious.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I'm kind of an introvert. And I don't think I could. Even this quarantine, uh, this is being released. Is it okay to like talk about this time? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, right. This is why we're in our
Yeah,
homes,
exactly.
a
Right.
billion feet apart. I was so reluctant. I had gotten some request if I wanted to do some Zoom shows. And this was earlier on into the quarantine. And I was like, I don't even want to think about that. It seems insane. It
Right.
makes me nervous. And then it got to a point where I was missing writing and telling my jokes in my set so much that I was like, this is what it's come to. We got to do this. And because I was missing it, I hadn't gone longer than 2 weeks without being on stage. And 11 years in comedy, and that was with raising 4 kids and working a full-time job, and I could not stay away from it. I hit the open mic scene so hard in the beginning, and I think I could walk away from it if it didn't bring me joy and something anymore, because I don't have any great ambitions. But right now it's like this is kind of what I love most in the world. So, and it was hard at the beginning part of the quarantine because having that taken away from you was like, it was devastating. I couldn't write, I couldn't think, I missed being out. So yeah, good question.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, it's hard, and it's hard to write. I found it's been difficult for me to write right now because I at least once, twice a week, I'm getting out, I'm hitting an open mic, I'm doing something, and I'll get some kind of immediate feedback on what I've written. Now, whatever I'm writing, like I don't get that immediate feedback, and so I don't know if I want to keep writing that way, if I want to feel that. So it's weird for me to like try and really focus up on that and be like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. Like, I mean, of course, everything that I write is brilliant as far as I'm concerned.
I can attest to that.
But I still would like to have the claps. So
absolutely. But I find it interesting too that you can write at all, because I feel so devoid of any creativity from not being out and around. I'm the most creative when I'm in a comedy show, listening to other people, other comedians, because I steal their material. But no, I swear there's something about being in that environment that it sparks it in me. And I write some of my best premises just listening to people having nothing to do with what I'm going to write about, just their energy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very much the same way. So like when I write, like I have friends that write every joke word for word, every I dotted, every T crossed. I write 3 or 4 premises, and then I go out and I do it in an open mic over and over. And I'll do it 20 different times, and I'll record each set and then go back. And once I finally found the way that I like it, then I'll write it longhand that way.
Right.
I don't type either. I'm not a typer. I write it out. Yeah, because I'm old. So I like to write it out. But I've been writing a lot in the sense of, have you ever heard of a book called The Artist's Way?
I do feel like I've heard of it.
So it's probably 30 years old at least.
Okay.
But it's for artists just in general, whether you be a sculptor, a painter, a writer, a musician. And the long and the short of it is, the main thing that they try and get you to do is do pages every day. Like, get up in the morning and you write pages. So the best way that it was described to me, and it works for me, is, let's say you're trying to write a joke, right? And the joke is carrots in a stew. And normal writing, you keep trying to pick the carrots out.
Yeah.
And make them funny. What this really teaches you to do is spill the stew out onto a piece of paper where you just get absolutely everything out. And then it makes it easier to go back and see the carrots. Because instead of using your mind of like this, you're trying to pick out this one certain thing. Fuck it, get it all out of there, get all of the noise out, and then you can see what's there.
And that's fascinating. And it's called The Artist's Way?
The Artist's Way, yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. And you can get it you can get it on Amazon or whatnot. It's cheap.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a $10 book now, or maybe it's $15 book, but it's good. I highly suggest it. It's 3 months. Yep. It's a 3-month book. So you're supposed to do 3 pages every morning when you first get up. So I've done it in the past, and now I don't, instead of like reading through and going through the whole process, I'll do a couple of days of pages and force myself to kind of follow it.
That's fascinating. Yeah, and again, this is why when this was taken away from us, it messed with all of us, because look at the amount of time and thinking and thought that goes into it. And then when you couldn't do that, I love this approach because it gives you an approach, a technique to use. And rather than just me looking at premises thinking, I got nothing today. You know, right. I wrote down 5 premises last week, and because I was writing every day before that, I would sit down for 15 minutes to an hour, whatever I could do it. And then it was just like nothing, you know? Yeah. So I'm going to pick it up. Thanks for that tip.
You're welcome. I'll send you a link too.
Thank you.
All right. So the last thing we're going to do before I let you go is what we're calling ambushed.
Oh man.
So these are some topics that either my wife or my daughters, last night was my wife, tonight it's my oldest daughter. I haven't seen these either. I don't know what's going on. So let's see what we get with the first one.
So wait, what do I do?
We're just going to talk about it. I'm just going to show it. So the first one that they said was food.
Food.
It's just food.
Oh man.
Have you expanded your cooking at all during this quarantine? Like, have you tried any new dishes, done anything like that?
No. In fact, I have been eating more than an unreasonable amount, really. But I am not a cook. I don't cook. Mm-hmm. I found new recipes to give my husband during this quarantine and ask him to cook. But I do have to say, I was saying this, that I feel like it's my duty to keep the small businesses in my neighborhood open. So I'm ordering, one night, I'm not exaggerating, we had a $150 bill at our favorite taco place because they also bottle margaritas and they're expensive. So
and worth it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's kind of a pricey Mexican restaurant anyway. So yeah, food, I love it a lot.
I think one of the things out of this quarantine that I hope sticks around, I know there's going to be like a ton of new inventions, innovative stuff that comes out of it, and everything I'm looking forward to, but I hope delivery of alcohol stays no matter what. Like,
I'm kind of hoping it doesn't. I'm really hoping it doesn't. Yeah. Today I'm drinking a Moscow Mule sans alcohol. It's just ginger beer and lime juice. Yeah. I have to knock it off. Who cooks in your house though?
Me.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the chef. I really enjoy it, and I've gotten a lot better at it. So when my wife started her own practice and I started working from home at 5 o'clock, I'm home. She still has to get there. So I just started cooking. So like for the longest time, I was your dad cook. Like we're having burgers again, or we're having steak. But now like last night for dinner, I made a chickpea salad with avocado, cucumbers, tomato.
Wow.
That was delicious. And then I made,
And healthy.
yeah, well, and then I made like these little meat and spinach meatballs, ground beef and spinach meatballs with Parmesan spinach. They were like that big, and you only have to cook them for like 8 minutes in the boiler. They were super good. So we just had
do
like
your kids love that stuff?
Yeah, they're getting much better at, you know, this is what we made. I'm sure it was probably like this for you growing up, especially having 8 kids. It was like it was only me and my brother, but it was always, this is what we made, this is what we're eating, we're not having anything else. So my house is very much that way, and they're starting to get to enjoy a lot of different stuff.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it's nice.
And growing up in an Irish house, we had like salt and pepper. Those were our seasonings. There was nothing fancy, and it's kind of why like. It's taken me a while to advance from eating like a 6-year-old where I only want like chicken fingers. Like, you know, that was like my diet. So
right. What goes with chicken fingers? Mozzarella sticks. That's
ranch dressing.
Yeah, ranch. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I know our generation was like this. I think we're fairly similar in age, close in age. Like ranch with everything. Pizza would get dipped in ranch. French fries would get. Do they still do that?
Yeah. If my son is in the indication, they do, because he asks for it with a side and everything. And I'm like, all right, okay.
All right. Off to Costco we go.
Right.
All right, let's see what the next one is.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know why they put this. Printers.
Printer.
A printer. Do you even have a printer in your house?
I do. And the wireless print is the best thing ever. But as a teacher, a printer is your like worst enemy. A copier printer, it sucks up so much of your time as a teacher. That's funny. What do you have a printer in your house? Is that what they were doing? Just looking around?
Probably. Well, I work for a printer for my day job, so that might be it. All right, you want to give one more?
Yeah.
Okay. Scrunchies.
Aww, I love your daughters and your wife. All of us can enjoy scrunchies. They are back in style.
They love them. They have them all over the place. And they'll have them like on their wrists.
Oh,
and just,
do you know what they're going to do when they start dating? Do you know about this? Your 10-year-old?
Hold on, let me. No. Okay.
When they are dating a boy, they will give him their scrunchie to wear on his wrist as like a sign that he's taken. Yeah.
Man.
Pretty stupid.
Yeah. Remember what was it back in the 50s and the 60s? The boyfriend would get the pin.
Right. Yep. Now it's just a scrunchie.
Not just a scrunchie. All right, that'll be good to know. So when she comes home one day, when they come home one day, I'm like, "Where's your scrunchie?"
Where's your scrunchie?
Where is your scrunchie?
Now you're gonna every day.
I know, right? I promised myself I'm not gonna be that dad.
Good.
If they're gonna date whoever they date. If I don't like him, I'm gonna keep it to myself. Good. Oh, I take that back. I'm gonna bitch about him to all of my friends. I will, but I'm not going to say anything to them. They can date whoever they want.
That's the best dad to be. I can't stand that trope of that dad standing there with a rifle because his daughter's dating. It's like, cut it out, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, cut it out. So that's awesome. Tell them I like their words. That's a fun game.
I definitely, because they're going to ask. They'll definitely ask. You're like, so.
It's the best game of ambush I've ever played.
I'm glad you liked it. Well, thank you very much for joining. Do you have any, I know we're probably not going to release this for a couple of days or anything, but do you have Do you have anything, people to follow you on at Twitter or Instagram or anything that you keep up with? Or?
You know, my website is pretty just dark right now because there's not a lot of shows to update unless I'm doing private Zoom shows. But I would love if they followed me on Instagram at Jeanie.Doogan. Find me on Facebook. I love adding new friends. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your quarantine with me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was really an absolute pleasure to talk and hang out with you. Really fun. Thanks, Mike.
I can't wait to see you in person and like just give you a hug.
Yeah, I know. It's been too long.
I know it's been too long. I can't wait to see people, you know, like
I know that are not related to us. Absolutely.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I see people all the time, and I'm like, yeah no, it's you're my people. I've seen enough.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Bye-bye.